Hey guys, welcome to a new movie review. Today I'm going to be telling you about the my thoughts for the new film. Well, not a new film. The Joe Dante film Matinee. It's the one right there. This one came out in the early '90s, I think in 1993. And in this film, it's about a film promoter who is trying to make a film about a half human, half ant. That it's kind of like your typical 1960s, late '50s monster movie kind of thing, and this is during the nuclear missile crisis. So people are obviously worried about that. They're worried the bombs are going to go off at any minute. So they're at that point in the history timeline where people think the nuclear bombs are going to kill everybody and that they can go off at any second. So John Goodman, in the meantime, who's this film promoter, is really trying to get people to come see it. He has this, planned vision called Atomo-vision, where like people feel like they're involved in the movie. He'll have like people in ant costumes, and he'll have smoke coming out of the TV, and it's really crazy 3D kind of stuff like that. Something like you'd see at like a 4D movie at Universal Studios, kind of. And so the movie also focuses on a kid who, wants to meet this guy. He's big in monster movies. He's really not too worried about the nuclear missile crisis. He all thinks it's just kind of politics, taking over television and talking about how they feel about nuclear missiles and all that kind of stuff. So this kid's not too worried about it. He's excited for this movie, and it kind of focuses on things going on at school and how that plays into, what's going to happen to those people when they go to this showing of this movie that's supposedly in 4D and things like that. So that's basically the plot of Matinee. So overall, I like the film, you guys. I think this is a good Joe Dante movie. We'll get into my positives and negatives here in just a minute, but I like Joe Dante. I really like the Gremlin movies. I actually have a Gremlin poster signed by Joe Dante, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, the movie Matinee, I really liked it. Really liked the plot of it. Really liked what it said about people's film experiences and how this character, this Lawrence Woolsey, I think his name was, by John Goodman, how he kind of was in the same vein of Alfred Hitchcock, where he kind of wanted to invite you into the experience, and he kind of wanted to get involved himself into these movies. But it was just a really I liked what the film was going for. I'm definitely going to say that. So for my positives and negatives of Matinee, I really liked John Goodman's Alfred Hitchcock kind of character. He's introducing himself in the trailers. He's getting himself involved in the trailers, and he pretends like it's a real scientific fact on all this kind of stuff. And just a really fun character by John Goodman. I really liked what he did here. I also like the 1960s monster movie nostalgia. Really does feel like something you'd see in like the 50s or 60s, with the really hokey looking claws and the really hokey looking monster masks. And they definitely did a good job really making sure that it looked like kind of like a Planet Strange kind of thing, or something you'd see in a 1950s science fiction movie. The film also felt like the 1960s. They got the clothes right, they got the houses right, they got the furniture right. Almost everything in this movie looked like it came out of the 1960s. So there's really not a moment in the movie where you feel like because this movie came out in 1993, so it doesn't really feel like the 90s. It definitely feels like the 60s as you're watching the movie. Jerry Goldsmith's musical score in this film was terrific. I think he passed away quite a number of years ago, but um, his musical score in this movie was terrific. I just there was almost some scenes where I almost had a tear coming down my eye just because his musical score really was very good in this movie. Definitely was a right fit for this kind of movie. The nostalgia feel and making us feel like we're in the '60s and we're worried about the nuclear missile crisis and all this other kind of stuff. So just really good musical score from him. It's a lot of fun. I also like the film's messages on film experiences. John Goodman was talking to this kid who's big into monster movies in one scene, and he brought this point that back during the caveman era, they would go out and see a woolly mammoth and run back to their cave as quick as they can. But the second they get back, they'd want to paint, because cavemen left paintings here on caves. They'd want to paint about it right away because that experience was important to them. It was big to them. It was something notable to them. And so he made the point that, in film, we can make that experiences happen on screen. And so I really liked his speech about, film experiences and, what it means to people and how he likes to get himself involved in those things. So I really liked what Joe Dante did with this character. It was just a really well written character. For my negatives of Matinee, by the time we get to Act 3 in the movie, the structure is pretty weak. It doesn't really quite know how to wrap itself up. It doesn't know if it wants to be a film where, something's really happening in this theater or if the nuclear missile crisis really is happening. It's just a little all over the place by the third act, and unfortunately, it does hurt the film a little bit. There's also a subplot in the film involving an ex-boyfriend with this girl that one of the kids in the school likes. It's really forced. It's really stupid. Almost every scene in the movie where the ex-boyfriend gets in the way of the real plot of the movie, and there's this subplot with him going on, it really interferes with what the film's really trying to be about. So the ex-boyfriend thing didn't really need it. Unfortunately, they make it a really big plot point at one point in the movie, and it kind of ruined the film a little bit for me. I also thought the film got a little too nuclear after a while. It just really focused on the nuclear missile crisis after, I'd say, a good chunk into the movie. And it really didn't need to be about that. I really liked how the film was about, monster movies and, John Goodman talking about, film experiences. And I don't know, I felt like the nuclear missile crisis, it's fine if they want to have it in there, but after a while it just took over the plot too much. I also felt like the last 30 minutes felt like a disaster movie. It really didn't feel like something you would expect a film like Matinee to end. It definitely had like a Independence Day 2012, day after tomorrow kind of feel to it at the last 30 minutes. And I don't know, I really felt like the movie didn't need to do that. I felt like there were so many things going for it. It didn't need to go the 2012 route. So overall, I'm going to give Matinee an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a really good movie. Obviously, there's some flaws to it. There's some subplots and some things that happen in the third act that really shouldn't be there. But like I said, it really does have a good grasp on monster movie nostalgia. I liked Alfred Hitchcock's John Goodman, John Goodman's Alfred Hitchcock styled character. There, we finally got it out. The film's messages on film experiences. So there's a lot of really good things going for this movie. But like I said, there's enough wearing it down where it probably won't have the same classic notability as, let's say, Gremlins will have. So 8.5 out of 10 for me. If you haven't seen Matinee yet, go and try to track it down. It's probably easiest to find in what I have here. You get like 10 films in one. And one of them is Matinee, and I think it was only $5, so it's a pretty good deal to find it. And you get other movies along with it, so that's probably the best way to find it. I haven't really seen it by itself in a while, so that's probably the best way to find it if you want to track it down and watch it. So 8.5 out of 10, good movie, and I'll see you guys here for the next review.